All right, we live. Let me see how everything is. Well, hey there.
Hey Bernard, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing just good.
And how you doing, Monel? My Jarrell, Jay Harris show podcast. I done some things with him in the past. So yeah, he's guy in Texas. They were in chat. They were I guess they were waiting for I even got on. But yeah, I just came to call you, get back in touch with you because we've been doing a lot of interesting shows lately, and you want to talk about some what is this? You got a thing going on Court Watch, financial literacy. You have a lot of interesting vineyards that you got going on, so I'm pretty sure you like to explain it to some of the people.
Um, well, I guess one of the most important things is financial literacy, but then on the flip side of it, the most important thing is court watch because so many of our people are still going to prisons, jails, camps, and cages. And then so many of our people are still unaware of economics and finance and things of that nature. So both topics are very, very important to the Black community.
Okay. Oh, and let me make sure I do my disclaimer, which the thoughts and opinions of me are not reflective of Dr. Carmen Johnson.
Thank you. I appreciate it because you and the judge and
Huh?
Kulik and all y'all men, you know, can say things that women can't say at times.
I think you can say them, but for purposes of this discussion, but go ahead and explain the financial literacy if you could.
Well, it depends on what part of it that you're interested in because it's so many different areas. My sister and I we started a new nonprofit called Helping Ourselves to Transform, which is for people that are returning home. And so we are going to be dealing with people that are coming home that have child support issues, that are backed up on child support, which means they can't get their license. So that's dealing with financial literacy. Or they're coming home and they owe creditors and things of that nature. And now they filed with the IRS stating that this is considered as income, so that's considered as financial literacy. So we'll be dealing with that. We will be bridging the gaps between the people that are coming home and also the creditors to work out some type of settlements or dismissing the debts, period. That's financial literacy. And also moving back to the child support piece, working with the state to dismiss the child support that these men that are coming home and it would obviously be impossible for them to pay. But in general, financial literacy is credit restoration, debt arbitration, financial planning, preparation for bankruptcy, rehabilitation after bankruptcy, how to build your credit, how to, in what I like to put in there is how to create a business and be self-sufficient and not be so worried about what the government is doing for us, being able to stand on our own 2 feet, um, learning how to build a relationship with a bank, because, I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, the banks don't like to give, people of color or Black people, loans, but they don't understand the process that's needed in order to get that loan and maintain that loan and keep the credit line or the loan amount increasing. A lot of people don't understand that piece of it. And in financial literacy, especially if you have a business, it's also really good to have a CPA and also a really good bookkeeper to keep that part of your finances in order. So, I mean, financial literacy is just a whole array of things. It's not just one topic. It's so many different tentacles to it.
Well, I understand.
Where's Lauren at?
Let's see what it's. I don't know. And look, they used to say that women, some women can't be on. But let me see. Let me get her in. Let me see if she's around. Let's see if she's around. Let's see. Hmm. Wait and see. I told her,
Okay, well, we can keep talking.
but I'm not. You know, I don't know. She. Let's see. Let me see. Um, where she is. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Keep talking. Yeah. I just wait and see.
Well, what I was saying is financial literacy is a whole array of things that have so many different tentacles to it. So, which topic do we want to talk about? Because I just threw a lot of different things out there. You know, financial literacy for the people that's coming home, and then financial literacy in general for, you know, our people in the community in general.
We'll break down both of them to make
I
it good.
did.
Well, no, I'm saying like returning citizens, right?
Yeah, people that are
Okay.
coming home.
I'm gonna go with the more so the returning citizens right now because like I used to work in prison and guys just say when they got out, some guys told me they didn't want to come out because they didn't want to start life over, and it was almost like 4 5 years later the world has changed around them. Sometimes they get so scared they don't want to be back out there.
When my situation happened, I mean, I was fighting from the beginning before I even went to that camp that they sent me to. And while I was in that camp, I was fighting to get out. So that wasn't my story. Subjectively, I've seen women cry when they would get the phone call on the red phone, time to pack up, it's time to go home. I literally saw women crying because they didn't want to leave. So I never could understand that aspect of it. But since you just made that comment right there, now I get it. Number one. And number two, I spent 3 years at that camp. And when I came home, I thought that it was going to be easy. And I didn't realize that it was going to be so difficult mentally, number one. And number two, they have all these different reentry programs out there, but no one could do anything for me. You know, I went to the MORCA, is the Mayor's Returning Citizen something something, and here in Washington D.C. And they just was just looking at me. They didn't know what to do. Okay, well, we can help you get your license. Well, we can help you get an ID. Well, I got my license. Well, we can help you get a birth certificate. Well, I got my birth certificate. Well, we can help you get your social security card. Well, I got my social security card. Well, we can help you write your resume. Well, here's my resume right here. So for me, it was no one could help me. And so I totally understand why a lot of people are afraid to come home when they are caught up in that system, especially if they spent a lot of years there. That's why my sister and I started this new nonprofit that's going to be dealing with the financial literacy piece of it, because where I needed understanding was the fact that my creditors, because they arrested me immediately at trial, my creditors had wrote off all my debts as income. So then I had to deal with IRS, which I'm still working out things with IRS. And of course, none of these reentry programs could help me. So with me going through this process, now I know what I need to do and how I can help other people coming home to deal with IRS. And not only am I working out my own personal issues with IRS, but I'm also working out a relationship with IRS with the new nonprofit that my sister and I started, which will ultimately help others. And then moving along, let's go on with the child support piece. Is a lot of people that are coming home that the child support payments have increased on what they owe. So we know that in some states or all the states, you can't even get a driver's license if you owe child support, back child support. So now I have a senator that's waiting on a report from me to that will explain where we need the states to come in and assist with either reducing this child support or taking away this child support or something to that effect, because this is ultimately holding people back. It's ultimately holding people back from getting a license, because a lot of the men, um, there are jobs that are available to them if they have a license. But if you owe back child support, you can't get a license. So it's really important to have that component. And then, of course, I also have a congressman that's waiting for the report as well, which will help deal with IRS and deal with the U.S. Treasury as far as you know the debts that have accumulated with IRS, which them calling the debts income, when you know daggone well you hadn't worked in years, but your creditors have wrote the debts off as there's income. So now you got to pay taxes on that. So nobody could help me on that. So I had to pull myself together mentally so I could deal with my situations from a financial literacy standpoint. And ultimately, I had to experience it so I can know how to help my brothers and sisters that are coming home, that are dealing with the same situation, and none of these reentry programs are helping.
Well, yeah. I know, and speaking of child support, I know a friend of mine that had a I just texted her again, but I know a friend of mine that had a thing when he was 14 years old, and no, he wasn't 14. His daughter was 14, and the woman went back, and she went back, and he wasn't locked up or anything, but they made him pay like from the rear to the start, so he had to pay 18 years of child support when he was already out there 14 years. So they actually can do that out of prison too, and actually out of prison, you might not have the money to do it when you get out. So that is a very, and he wasn't even in prison; he was working.
That's that right there. That child support piece is holding so many of our people back when they come home. That's like, how many times are you going to punish someone? So that's another form of punishment, you know. Um, so we are aiming to work something out with the state and also with motor vehicles with the help of the Senate as far as that's concerned. So we're working diligently on that.
So let's go to the financial literacy with the regular everyday citizen and not returning.
Well, again, we got the credit restoration, which is dealing with your credit reports. We got debt arbitration, which is dealing with negotiating your debts with creditors. We have financial planning, which putting yourself on a household budget and sticking to it, and saving your money as well, which is a very important component that I believe in. A lot of our people, we tend to spend every dime that we have, which doesn't make sense to me. Um, the other piece is becoming a landowner. I don't trust the system with, purchasing homes and things of that nature. Subjectively, it's very important that we are landowners. One of the things that Lauren talks about is growing her own gardens and stuff like that, which is very important. Nowadays, the food, the fruits and the vegetables that we are getting are not fresh, so we really need to start looking into that. And Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that, talked about it for years, about growing our own produce and vegetables and things of that nature. And we still haven't gotten on board with that. But bankruptcy, people tend, especially people that look like us, tend to not want to file bankruptcy. Is an embarrassment to them. When I had my for-profit company years ago, which taught financial literacy, I would have to hand walk people to file bankruptcy. For some reason, they was too proud. They didn't want to do it. But I mean, It's part of financial literacy.
You
And then,
know, it's kind of weird, and a lot of people used to say this. Actually, they used to say it with Trump. Actually, bankruptcy ain't actually always a bad thing. Yeah,
bankruptcy is not bad, period. But people tend to think, they make us think that it's bad, but they do it all the time. They go behind, white folks go behind our back and file, but they tell us, pay your debts, you a loser, you are this, you are that, if you file in bankruptcy, but they do it all the time. Look at the president.
so, well, actually, that's why I always tell people Trump is nothing wrong with filing bankruptcy because actually, to tell you the truth, he actually winning. He
Yeah,
actually winning when he do that.
yeah, and not to mention he's filed a couple of times, and there's nothing wrong with it.
And
And then it's something,
that mean that you win because you ain't got to pay it back right now. You get a certain number of times to pay it back, or maybe not pay it back at all. Put the credit
when
on the hook, but hey, they gonna
you
try to
know,
get the hook. So why don't I win first? that's
right.
how I, that's why I look at that. I'd rather win first. But as I always say, I mean, that's part of financial illiteracy right there, not understanding that. See, I changed the word.
Not understanding that, not understanding the importance of land, not understanding who your creditors are, not understanding credit, period, is a hindrance to our community. Not understanding how to negotiate, not understanding economics, not understanding the stock market, not understand we are lacking in those areas. And then we depend on the white man to just tell us that it's raining outside and they really are peeing on us
You know, I
because
was
we don't understand financial literacy.
somebody say you look like Diane Carroll.
I hear that all the time, especially when I was a young a spring chicken.
What? Oh, you was in with Diane Carroll.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's mighty funny, but yeah. As a matter of fact, there's another thing. With the housing thing, also becoming renters to buyers and all that other stuff. There's a lot of things. As a matter of fact, I was amazed to um find out not only about financial literacy, but also about. And I was talking about this today. Like I was telling a friend of mine. Matter of fact, we talked to him before, and I told him that we have um like a lot of white people say, okay, these NBA, NFL players make me mad with all the social justice. Don't get mad when you do the same thing. Every time they say we're gonna bring Jordans out in new sale. Everybody just line up and say, wait a minute, Michael Jordan don't do nothing for us, really. You know, hey, just don't buy them. Let the Jordan sit at the store and drop the price down. What's the Jordan paying for $200 tennis shoes? And you know, I mean, I wouldn't buy them even. I got money to buy them, but I don't want them. So you just don't buy the product. I mean, don't buy McDonald's got poison food. Don't buy McDonald's. Don't buy Burger King. Don't buy none of it. Um, just don't buy it. Like you know what I was talking about Chick-fil-A and their stance. Chick-fil-A says we do not support the LGBT community, and they still get plenty of business. You still see long lines, so everybody's not against their stance. As a matter of fact, more people should do it and say, wait a minute, you're not going to push this on me. That's why when they said that we're not going to go to the Salvation Army because the Salvation Army supports this, hey, they made a powerful stand. I don't have to support your ideology. Um, so and you're not gonna force this on me. So that's why I do appreciate certain stances. I said, do not get mad with them about what they did. You just pull off the same stance. You don't have to like McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's, whatever these stands are. You just have your own thing. Like, I mean, I have to ride 15 minutes or 10 minutes down the street just to go to a black-owned coffee shop. Then I have to do that. I do it almost every week, sometimes 2 or 3 days a week. And I got Waffle House sitting right on the corner. IHOP sitting right on the corner. So So it is what it is. Um, or then if I don't do that, then I have to make sure where I'm controlling the narrative, where I got a waitress that look like me, a cook that look like me. Really, hope is a cashier too. That might be no, I still want that too. So I still have to control the narrative if I'm not going there. So some people say it's that or you're being too narcissist. No, I'm just being myself, and I'm following the script called self-preservation because I know plenty Indians, Pakistans, Latinos. They do the same thing. We got a restaurant right down the street called Chicken Fiesta. It's like I can walk to it. It take me 5 minutes to walk to out of my neighborhood. It's a Latino restaurant, and ain't nobody else working there but Latinos. That's the only thing you gonna see in there working. So I mean, some whites go there. They have Latinos go there. A lot of black folks go there. Um, the Chinese food restaurant, you ain't gonna see nobody working but Chinese food. Whether you do see a black person working Chinese restaurant, he ain't no cashier though. So yeah, it's kind of that goes into financial literacy too.
You know,
As
as I get older, is very important. Well, I've been like this for years. I've been an entrepreneur for over almost 30 years now. So I believe in supporting, Black business. I believe in supporting our business. And I believe in, like, I mean, like people say, well, Carmen, you don't wear fake nails, you don't wear fake eyelashes, you don't wear fake hair. Like, I like long hair, but when I came home from that prison camp, I cut all my hair off. But people are like, well, why don't you get a weave, or why don't you? I'm not supporting those people. Well, first of all, that's not me anyway, but I'm not going into no Chinese shop to buy some hair or some eyelashes or some fake nails. You know what I'm saying? They don't support us. They don't support us. So why should I support them? Number one. And number two, I spend my money on, like I just with my sister, created this new nonprofit that's going to be successful like all my other businesses were. So I believe that our people should be more into creating their own businesses and learning how to be self-sufficient. In 2021, you should not be going to buy $400 Nike tennis shoes, unless you can afford it. But my thing is, you should have your own business. Once you have your own business, once you are self-sufficient, then you can buy whatever you want. Subjectively, I would rather be trying to buy the stocks or get the stocks from these companies, opposed to buying them to support them who are making millions. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me. And then, we have a lot of these Black athletes and actors and actresses and musicians and rappers, and it's only a handful to give back to the community, if that.
I mean,
You know.
I call them the local circus. You got it with the Barnum and Bailey circus.
Uh-huh.
And they got like sometimes they can be like the local circus sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So that's how that goes with them. But
Yeah.
but they
So yeah, our people need to do more of investing in ourselves and creating our visions and our dreams and making them happen. To me, that's the biggest financial literacy, is being self-sufficient from anyone or anything.
that's right. Yeah, I was looking at I don't know if you remember a couple years ago they had a guy named his name was LeVar Ball. He was a his son playing NBA, but he had a powerful message because he wanted to buy Nike. No, he didn't want. He wanted to make his own brand. A lot of people got on him saying, "You crazy? You marketing your sons? You doing this? You doing that?" And a lot of people got on him for trying to sell his own shoes and not sign a shoe deal with Nike. He told Nike, "You want my sons? We got to pay $1 billion." A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
thought it was a bad thing, but actually he was just trying to market to get his own shoe thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people bought them, but the majority of people didn't. Um, you know, I mean, I think he's probably still doing that. They still probably got the shoes out, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is a guy trying to make his own shoe deal, Y'all, every NBA player should have said, "Hey man, I'm leaving my contract with Nike, and I'm going to daggone jump on his side."
Well, see, it goes back to what I just said. Do you know how many of us that don't support our people's business?
Yeah,
You know, you got to ask yourself, what's wrong with that picture? Why don't we support one another?
self hate, self hate as they call it,
Mm-hmm.
and some of it is, they say you overcharge, so much. As a matter of fact, got a brother in here named Harris. I think Harris went back to selling cars or whatever. So in Texas, I hope they're coming to buy a lot of cars from Jay Harris because he's a car dealer, so he needs some commission and some stuff like that. So we hope that he could get his car dealership up. Or as I was discussing with Cooley, he's an audio engineer. People need to be supporting his auto mechanic. Um, financial literacy, or as a matter of fact, not only just financial literacy. Let's talk about that. You just recently started a GoFundMe, didn't you?
Yeah, I just put it on there a couple of days ago. I haven't been pushing it. I mean, shit, I can't even, get people to support to sign the petition. But then now I'm like figuring out, okay, so Carmen, what's up with this petition? We got this new president in office. I'm just so confused. I'm just waiting on the universe to tell me something subjectively, um, yeah, I put the button up there. The judge was like, "Hey, put that button on there," and I did it, but no, So, but I can't. I'm self-sufficient. You know what I'm saying? So I can't worry about my people not supporting me after all what I've done for our community. I can't worry about that. I have to stay focused, and I have to stay focused on the mission. And the mission is the fact to expose what, the state of Maryland did to me, what the Department of Justice did to me, what the NAACP did to me, and make sure this doesn't happen to any of our other people that look like us that are listening.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yes, yeah. Monique 2C. We've been programmed to think the white man's ice is colder. Yes, that's right.
But you,
Um,
but then also on the flip side of some business owners, which I was never, this business owner that I'm getting ready to mention, a lot of them that look like us tend to take advantage of our own people also, and that's disgusting. They won't take advantage of the white man, but they'll take advantage of their own people, our own people. That's a problem. You know what I mean? That's a serious issue, and that's something to think about. So, back in the day when I was creating business owners and self-sufficient people, I expected them to give back to our people that look like us. That was the agreement. I get your credit right. I hope you start this business. You know, you need to make sure you give back. Did they do it? I don't know. But is in the universe is that's the energy that I was putting out then. That's the energy that I'm putting out now, and it is what it is. But a lot of business owners, they don't do the right thing that look like us, and then of course we don't do the right thing to support Black businesses.
that's
So
right.
it's a double-edged sword going on here, where it goes back to we really need to sit down with ourselves and have a conversation with ourselves about what's really going on with me. You know,
Well, trying to send her something. Maybe I can get her in. Um, no, trying to send this. I'm trying to find out how can I send her this? I'm trying to send her this thing through an email.
who are you
Trying to
trying to send?
this link to her. Um, Lauren. I'm trying to send her this email link.
Cut and copy the link and put it in the email.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I just had to go back and copy it
You
again.
you a million years younger than me. You should know that.
No, I sent it to her actual phone.
Hmm. And you trying to send it to her email? I got you.
Hmm.
So anyone in the chat, do you have any comments on my comment with me saying that, you know, we should be more self-sufficient and create more businesses, number one. And number two, that some of our Black business owners have us as targets to hurt us opposed to help us. And but they won't do the white man like that, but they'll do us like that. Do anyone have any comments about that?
Well, yeah, that is a actually very good comment, and you know, we've had some businesses down here like that, and they actually sit there and say, well, um, well, we don't want to do that because I can't lose the white customers and all that. But the majority of black people coming as black, so if you lose them, so be it. It is what it is. You lost them. You snooze, you lose. Hey,
I agree with C. Richards. And C. Richards says, agreed. We also need family estates established to pass down our wealth. And, you know, my family, we have property that's been in our family since 1901 up to now. And we have that in a family trust. And of course, my mom just passed on December the 18th, but we had everything all set up. So we didn't have to worry about probate, court, or anything like that. So, see, Richard, you are absolutely correct. And those are things that we refuse to learn about because we want to look at the latest videos, the latest Instagram. And like Kulik said on his show, y'all show last night or the night before, we really need to get off of following these make-believe or these illusional characters of rappers and actors and actresses and things of that nature. We need to be creating our own and starting off by learning about estates, financial literacy, business ownership, taxes, things of that nature. And you know, the other thing is if you have a good seasoned CPA, like there's so many different loopholes that we can utilize, but because we don't know, we're taken advantage of. And we are always being taken advantage of because we refuse to read, we refuse to study, we refuse to research. But when the music started popping, they got their booties to the poll, and guess who they voted for? As soon as the
well,
music started popping.
well, you know something though. I was talking to a friend of mine today. No, yesterday, Dawson, Houston, Texas, and she told me that in Texas and other areas, a lot of us didn't even bother to come to the poll this year. Just that they had to. That's why they had to rig it in it. Everybody in this chat this year, and I know, and I can tell you the sources. Everybody in this chat this year got a census. Now, whether you signed it or not, that's on you. Okay. I mean, I'm telling you, I deliver census to addresses that were vacant. Okay.
Mm.
So those censuses were actually used to pass our census so illegal immigrants could vote. 60% of black folks didn't even bother voting this election because we said we weren't getting anything. We just stood down. So that's why I said actually the fix was already in. Now I'm going to say this. Also, you got a high coalition of people vote for Donald Trump too, as well across all demographics. So they just forced this on us. Now that's why me and a lady on Facebook actually said a couple of weeks ago, "Hey, look, the ones that no, you ain't had nothing to do with it. They already had to fix in. As a matter of fact, Biden even told you they didn't even win. He said, matter of fact, he said in the chat, the Zoom call with the black civil rights leader, we got our asses kicked. So I mean, that's why I said, like, I let them just go ahead and believe it. No, but you're gonna make yourself a target of violence for claiming that. I don't claim nothing that I didn't do. And as a matter of fact, come to think about it, you want to know how you can tell that the illegal immigrants helped them get a lot of those votes? Because one of the first things he said, I'm gonna loosen borders, I'm gonna let them out of jail, and I want to let 11 million of them come in the country. So
Isn't
y'all
that
showing you where his loyalties lie.
isn't that horrible? You know, I saw the article you sent me about he's going to be releasing these immigrants that are in prison, all of them, and I'm like, okay, what about our brothers and sisters that are sitting in prison number one, for crimes they didn't commit, like myself. For number two, people doing, football numbers that look like you and I for a $5 crack rock. You know what I'm saying? What about them? I'm just confused. Not to mention they trading those indictments on Wall Street. That's financial literacy. They trade in the birth certificate on Wall Street. That's financial literacy. You know what I'm saying? They making money off us. So why are you so loyal to the immigrants? Why are you taking the wall down and allowing these people into the country who's going to be classified as white, by the way, because
And
their race is dying
it's
out.
called it's called replacement project.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, come to think about it, now I gotta ask a question. I gotta ask a question. Man, I need to ask the big question. So are these illegal immigrants? Are you trying to make them take the vaccine too? I'm gonna have to ask.
That's a great question, because they sure trying to ram it down our throats. My daughter is a RN nurse, and she said we will not be taking that vaccination. And she explained to me how they can't shake it up. They got to only have 10 in the little barrel. You can't do this, you can't do that with it. You got to be really, really careful when it's like, okay, so she was trying to explain scientifically all of this to me, and I couldn't comprehend, because that's not my field. I couldn't comprehend what she was talking about. She was like, look, bottom line, Mom, we're not taking it. It's something going on here. And she said that when she, give the shot, people are fainting and stuff like that, because after the shot, you have to wait like 15 minutes, and some people you have to wait 30 minutes. And people are fainting, and people are feeling sick when they take it. And so we don't know what happened, of course, when they go home, but she's just explaining to me what happens while they're there for that 15 to 30 minutes after the shot is administered.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. Because yeah, Claudia Ma, you're right. They say they won't do away with ID for poor black people. It wasn't for us, it was for illegals, illegal voters and cheap labor. Yes, because as a matter of fact, one thing a lot of people don't know, that actually in 2016 they say Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. I went back and studied some things. She really didn't. As a matter of fact, they threw out 1 million votes in California and other places. So actually, and as a matter of fact, you can tell where I can tell you where the states where the most illegal immigrants reside. California,
Texas, not Texas.
Texas got stuff for immigrants. California,
Mm-hmm.
New York,
Mm-hmm.
Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Chicago?
Yeah, definitely. Um, Detroit in certain places. Matter of fact, Detroit got little Italy there. Detroit got a whole Italian section there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Wisconsin got a small bit, but when they tell you they ain't run voter ID, they can't be talking about you. They ID for everything else. So they got to be IDing people who can't vote. I mean, if you realize, they even said that they had younger voters even voting in some of this stuff. That was in a hearing. So people weren't even 20. I mean, they had found all this out. So what I'm saying is, I realized something. The census came out, which I didn't sign, by the way. Just putting it out there, right? Went to every address, but these mail-in ballots went to every address too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really think about it, no, he actually showing you, because there's a saying by a politician: I am supposed to back who put me in office. So really, to tell you the truth, it is my duty to back who put me in office, right? That's what they say on it. That's what every politician say. I back those who put me in office. So actually, to tell you the truth, that's why he said I want to bring them in, because they actually had to be the one put them in office. Also,
so the ones that are down there, the caravan that's coming, that they help put them in office.
it's certain Muslim countries and Honduras and these stuff. I'm not saying they put them in office, but a lot of them are what they call illegal immigrants here. See,
Okay.
so it's kind of like, and they don't let all illegal immigrants over. There's certain ones they let too.
Mm-hmm.
From Central America, like India. Like I give you an example. You hear them talking about green energy, green New Deal, green jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those doctors, geoengineers, technologists, stuff, that's them.
Right.
Silicon Valley in California, they actually trying to get them to work there. That's why everybody keeps saying, I hear people saying, oh, they about to raise the minimum wage. Oh, yes. I said, no, you don't want them to raise the minimum. You might want them to do it, but not on small business owners. Maybe a job like a Fortune 500 company, but on small business owner, that's a deficit. So a lot of people don't know when these people tell you something good, it's really bad, or it's actually because people look at the optics too much. They look at the optics. Oh, that looks good. We're gonna have a $15 minimum wage. You can smoke weed. You can legalize prostitution. I was talking to a friend of mine. Oh, Lauren, by the way, Lauren put this out there on the show the other day. Or she talked. She said Revelation 17:4. And you read
Mm-hmm.
Revelation 17:4, the woman has scarlet and pearls in a cup of her abominations, and all in her impurities of prostitution. What did Kamala Harris have on? Pearls and scarlet.
You know, the Judge Joe Brown and I was on the phone at 4 a.m. Was it yesterday morning or the day before? I think it was yesterday morning. And he was talking about that. And here again, he was trying to explain to me she had on Harris had on purple and the pearls and the this and that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, he was trying to explain that to me, and I was like, I don't know what that quite means. And he was breaking it down, which I can't say on here, but he was breaking it down what it actually means. And I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing
Yeah,
I can say is that we in a mess. The next 4 years, at least we knew what the last white man that just left the White House, at least we knew what he was capable of doing. We don't know what's coming down the pipe with this one in there. I mean, well, we do because he's been in politics for what, 40 something years,
yeah,
and we got out of those 8 Crime Act bills, 7 of them he co-signed,
you know what?
wrote or sponsored, and nowhere on his 100-day agenda is he going to do anything about that. That's an issue, which he ran on it saying that he was sorry and he got to crying and carrying on and he was going to do something about it. Well, I didn't see it in his 100-day agenda, so maybe he'll do it in 4 years. But in the meantime, our people are still being arrested, terrorized by the police, terrorized by the Department of Justice. When you think about, I think I sent you an article or you sent me an article where the 600 people that they arrested with the Capitol riot, that they're going to let them go because it's going to overflood the courts and this and that and this and that. And I'm like, what? That traumatized me. That traumatized me. So we getting ready. I don't think it looks too good.
Okay, he was joining the Paris Climate Agreement. Also, they're ready to deploy soldiers back to the Middle East. Uh,
Mm.
Now, say what you want about Trump, like him or not, I will give him credit. He was not a war hawk. About money, but he wasn't a war hawk. As a matter of fact, nobody ever talks about this. Biden and Obama probably were the two greatest, not probably, were the two greatest war hawks, especially in those areas of the world. So we have to, when we look at,
You don't think the Bushes were either? You
yeah,
don't. They
yeah,
don't.
but they only had 2 wars though
Mhm.
going. When
I'm just asking.
Bush set it up for Obama, and then Obama just went stir crazy with it with AFRICOM. I mean, they went off the chain with it.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed when they did that to Gaddafi. I was very disappointed in that.
Oh yeah, by the way, men with wigs can compete in women's sports again. You know, they saying that you can go in the bathroom with a woman and all this other nonsense. Um, for competing in women's sports.
You know, it was funny because when I was at that prison camp, and you know, they wouldn't give, like, women that was going through menopause and stuff like that, they wouldn't give medication for that, but they would give medication for women that was transforming into men. So here it is. We in the bathroom brush. I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth, and I'm standing beside a woman with a full beard because she's getting the hormones or whatever you call it to become a man. And to me, that was intrusive. That was embarrassing. It was weird. It was strange. And then here it is. I come home 2 years later, 2.5 years later. Now we're getting ready to. Well, we are exercising the right to unisex bathrooms and all kinds of stuff like that. I am totally against it. I am totally against it. I'm sorry.
They tried to pull that nonsense off at the end of right time in Obama's term, which he said something about that bathroom segregation was um just like the Dred Scott decision, all that other foolishness, that like other crazy mess that he was talking about. And as a matter of fact, I was at the store today, and gags what do you say? Uh but Malcolm X and Obama being a sharing shirt. I said, well, Malcolm X and Obama should not be on the same shirt, no way, shape, or form, because they completely different ideology. And Obama, what I call kind of handpicked. you know, cause I said, all you gotta do is go look at 8 years of that presidency. You'll find out that, hey man, you lost 53% of your net wealth while he was in office. So yeah, and it was a little bit more than just that housing crisis too. Lost some money to HBCUs, even though, really, to tell you the truth, do we really even have HBCUs anymore? Because they are becoming white out like hell. So I don't think we even really have those anymore. That's like that's a farce too. Um,
But to go back to the women's sports and allowing, I guess it would be, is the correct word, transvestites?
Might be
Working with
gender
them.
appropriate, whatever.
So at the end of the day, that's still a man. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So even though they identify as a woman, I respect their decision. You know, I'm a Buddhist, so I'm not judging. I'm just trying to get an understanding. But at the end of the day, that's still a man with the muscle mass and the bone texture and I mean, you know, that's kind of strange to me. That doesn't make sense to me.
that's right. Now, but I will say I had to deal with that same situation as a corrections officer. So I will say that, actually, to tell you the truth, we had some guys. We had one, he tried to leave out. He was going through gender conversion therapy or whatever the hell it is. And you got to keep them in a separate area because they think they could be attacked or they could be raped, or I mean, it was a mess. It was really weird. And you got to they have to be. What were you in? Solitary? No, you was in population, but
I was
solitary.
I was in a camp, but I got thrown in solitary confinement a couple
Yeah,
of times
but
because
these guys have to be in solitary confinement because they think somebody might try to rape them or something like that. It's really weird. I mean, I was telling you.
but
I mean,
but
I don't know if you want to step back
but it's
and put in
also
there, set it up where we could go to a prison.
but it's
We
also
could go walk
weird
around and you can see this.
but it's also weird to be at a woman's camp prison and you look over and it's this woman there with this beard on that clearly got a girlfriend or wife or whatever they doing in there, and or we both walking out the shower and I look over and that's, you know, one of them with a beard. I mean,
It's called it's a Sodom and Gomorrah type state. But like I said, time will pass. Some of us will get through it. A lot of us won't. Unfortunately, you might have to go to school with some of these freaks. They're gonna start trying to put it in churches. They're really just trying to make it 100% eligible for them. Now, as far as something I wanted to ask you, because I never really asked you, you know, there's a thing saying and it's going on. So I was doing a study the other day and I found out that 75%. I think we Kansas Owens, and you can say what you want about Kansas Owens, but sometimes Kansas Owens right. Y'all say a dead clock is right twice a day. I say she might be right about 5 times a day. When she talk about certain things, Kansas Owens be right. So I do like that she will talk about single motherhood and absentee fathers. I just don't like that she talks to majority white audience most of the time about it, but that's either here or there. I'm not gonna really get into that. But I did realize that they had a good thing going, right? Brexit. And when you look at the overarching theme, the overarching theme of Brexit, and you really sit there and look at it like this, Candace, she right about one thing. So, and I just want to say how a lot of us get used and pimped because we got this Black Lives Matter nonsense, right? And I'm gonna start calling black lesbian Marxists. I'm gonna take the name Marx because they really Marxists disguised as Black Lives Matter. So they say they protesting police injustice, right? But I don't know anybody that's protesting police injustice making $10.6 billion off that. Because if you want to protest police injustice, all you got to do is go to your local city councilman, because the citizens really control the statement of the police in their town. So you don't have to, you're raising that much money. Somebody need to ask some questions. Why am I donating to these people? What's going on here? Why am I donating? What's going on? Am I wrong? Am I right? Let's just ask some questions because you don't need to protest for decent justice by paying money to a group. You need to be at your local county, or you need to be doing something about it. And that's all I'm gonna say. But you control the politics of your police. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why people couldn't see that was a setup anyway. You understand where I'm coming from? And you raising mad money too. So some of you had well, yes, black lesbians wanting to matter, but they actually found out they don't matter because they still haven't met with Biden yet. And they actually wrote out a letter the other day saying, I think the Democrats used us. And I said, you damn right, because y'all ain't getting nothing. And matter of fact, you saw that?
I saw a tweet that came through yesterday from Black Lives Matter that said, somebody said, I'm starting to feel like we've been used.
Yes, in 2016, actually came down from the DNC. I think it was Tom Perez and Obama. They actually wrote a letter about Black Lives Matter and said, promise them nothing, but treat them nice, but don't give them any direct assistance, basically. Don't just blow them off. This was in the WikiLeaks thing. They actually released this in September of this is when Darren Seals got killed in Ferguson. But yeah, they actually said promise them nothing. Just basically give them a bunch of sweet. They released this document.
So it came out in September, and people still got their booties to the pole.
No, it was in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But really, this year, actually, to tell you the truth, this one, they told you ain't black. A lot of things. So like I told you, it was just a fringe group because, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. The other day, and this is how I know that Rhea had nothing to do with it, because the guy on CNN sitting there and made a statement the other day. It was weird. He said, we must stop these YouTubers. People are watching YouTube more than us on our daytime shows. That's what the goddamn CNN anchor said. So all that censorship and banning, all that's nonsense. That's all nonsense. This is a money game. People are making money, or not even making money. They're actually doing what me and you doing, and they know the competition. I don't need a news program anymore. Anybody out there in the chat, you can go ask who. I don't know who has cable anymore, but a lot of people are even counting their subscriptions. Your cable bill might be $200. I know when mine got to 150, you cut it off. You don't even miss it. So anybody in the chat know that these news networks are hurting. All networks are hurting. Hollywood is hurting. They're trying to find a way to get the money back. They're trying to get you with Netflix, but then Netflix space to boycott placing cuties. The whole system is falling. Anybody in the chat, do you realize that that really, to tell you the truth, what I'm doing on here is more important than what those news networks are doing? And anybody else that's out there as well. I hope people understand it because they
Me
know.
personally, yeah, I can't watch is because I'm a serial meditator. I'm very responsive to my body and my frequency and my vibration. And if I turn on CNN or one of those news stations, it does something to my frequency, and so I can't watch those news medias. Not to mention, it's a lot of propaganda anyway, and a lot of mind control, a whole lot of mind control. But what I've noticed, it does something to my vibration and my frequency. So if it's doing that to me and I recognize it, I can imagine what it's doing to so many other people, mainly that look like you and I, you know.
You are
So
so right. You are so right because what I say, and you like I always say, propaganda is a war is a warfare. So yes, relate. Thank you for cutting the cable off in 2016. Also, I want to thank you once again for a wonderful donation as well. Like I said, I be make me a little sheepish, so they know blushing like that little kid on the schoolyard. But hey, it is what it is. And besides, I got dimples anyway. um, yeah, yeah. But also, like I said, don't just donate to me, please. Everybody in the chat, donate to Miss Dr. Carmen Johnson's GoFundMe and sign her petition as well. And you can read https commonstory.org, which is in the chat. Because
and
really,
and the purpose of the Gold Fund is my appeal was denied 4 months later. So August, my attorney filed the appeal, and it was denied like a day or two before my mom passed. And I said on some of my my latest interviews that I would never go back to the Supreme Court because I've already been to the Supreme Court, but the day before my mom passed, she told me that I had to keep fighting. So now I'm on my way back to the Supreme Court, still fighting for my name because your name is the most precious thing that you have. And not to mention, my name is attached to an indictment that is being traded on Wall Street. And most people don't understand that. Not to mention the birth certificate is being traded on Wall Street. So now, because I am considered, as they use the word felon, I refuse to answer to that. They have seized the capital Carmen Johnson. And so I'm still fighting for my vindication and exoneration in the Supreme Court, which is very expensive. But, we are planning to file in the Supreme Court at the end of April. My attorneys are going to take their time and file this, and hopefully, something will happen. I don't like to use the word hope. Hope is the delay of disappointment, but I know that I was politically hit. So what happened to me was a handshake and a phone call, so, but, I was trying to get to, the other president that's gone now, the U-Haul picked this stuff up last week. I was trying to get to him to get a pardon, and people that knew him or could get to him that looked like you and I would not give him my name. That was disgusting. But so I got to keep these gloves on. I got to keep fighting in all directions. I got to keep fighting. And not to mention, when you go to my website, the pardon that I'm asking for, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for the president to investigate my case. Subjectively, I also have to understand that it was a lot of the Democrats that politically hit me. But then on the flip side of it, I have to understand that it was a couple of Democrats that helped get me out early too. So I'm just so confused at this point with this whole thing. But what I'm not confused about is that I'm on my way back to the Supreme Court. And not to mention, when the appeals court denied my appeal a couple of weeks ago, they did not give an opinion. They just wrote, we agree with the lower court. So they wouldn't even give an opinion, which is wrong. And that was one of the biggest red flags that is a reason to go to the Supreme Court, so the Supreme Court can know that the appeals court did not even give an opinion. So this whole thing is just, it's a mess. I tell people all the time, I'd rather have went to jail for a crime that I committed, because now you got laws, statutes, and codes that's on the book that they got to follow. But when it's a handshake and a phone call and a bunch of white men standing in the middle of a field butt naked because they want to make sure there ain't no mics on them, that's the worst, because the fraud that happened to me goes all the way to the top. And my book comes out, they pushed it from March to April. First it was coming out in March, now it's coming out in April, because the book is much bigger than, there's more pages than what we thought. And so they pushing that out in April as well. So, at the end of the day, I need the support of my community, and I need organization support. I've contacted 28 to 30 organizations that look like us. And matter of fact, one of them was Black Lives Matter, before I understood the politics in it, before I understood what it actually meant. And they told me that they could not support me because I was asking the government for something. And I'm like, but aren't y'all asking people to vote for this same government that I'm asking to investigate my case and pardon me? So it's really confusing. And the list goes on and on. I've tried to contact Alice Johnson, I think that's her name, sent her a couple of emails, called her a couple of times. I've tried to contact Angela Staton King, talk to her publicist, sent her all my information. And that didn't, go well either. So I don't understand. Like, if I had done 30 years opposed to the 3 years, if I had actually did the crime, maybe people would be more compelling. Or if I was gunned down in the street. But then look at Sister Breonna Taylor. She didn't get the respect or the support that she needed, even, in her death, and that's discouraging. And, we as people of color, Black people, number one, is not a lot of men of color or Black men that are protecting our women. And then number two is some type of strange dynamic that's going on with Black women or women of color. It's some type of strange unsisterhood when it should be a sisterhood, and it's not. So I'm just standing out the way and allowing the universe to do its thing and to know that it's okay. Because at the end of the day, my story is about what is going on in our community, and to shed light on how the state does, people of color, and to shed light on how the Department of Justice, like we saw it with the Capitol thing, all those white folks running up in the Capitol and all kinds of stuff like that. Now was an article saying the 600 or the 800 of them that they got, they're not going to press charges because it's going to flood the courts. Well, they steady locking people that look like you and I up. So,
well, yeah, let me say something about that, though. Let me say something about that. I'm glad you brought that up right quick, because actually, to tell you the truth, I knew that wasn't going to happen anyway, because remember, I told you that Black Lives Matter and Antifa had been writing notes on Twitter and talking about they were going to do this anyway. So, of course, they can't They can't do it because part of them was in on the game anyway. Now, you realize that I sent you the article with the National Guard. They told them to sleep in the parking garage. But no. See, they don't trust the National Guard, and 72% of them voted for Trump, and they also know. And look, we stole this election, right? So they don't want the road. They also made some of them not had the magazines and their guns and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that's why the governor said we're gonna bring our National Guard troops home. You saw that article, I think. I don't know who got the article. It could be true, but they showed the article, National Guard turning their backs or whatever. But I mean, National Guard is, you got National Guard troops that can work with you because National Guard is really like a lot of people come home or work in the community. So it's a little different. But now they want them to be there till so and so. So, I look at it more so as a telling moment, but we will see what happens. I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to be told, and we're going to see a lot of stuff in the next couple weeks. It's going to shock the hell out of a lot of people. I don't know where she's at, and I know you got another show, but I do want you to.
My next show is at 8, but not to mention a bunch of the National Guard and the Reserve have caught COVID since they've been here. So I think I sent you an article on that.
Okay. Well, look. What is your GoFundMe name?
I don't know. I just put it up there. Like my computer guy just put it up there. You just click. I guess go to my website and then just click on the GoFund and it should take you to it. It doesn't. I hadn't even wanted to look at it because I was like, I know it's. It should be.
Go to your website right here that you got in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Well, your name, yes. Okay.
So, Waverly Timberlake, you are absolutely right. The QSIP number. Yeah.
What do you? Oh, the number is that for your thing?
It's dealing with them trading indictments and trading the birth certificate and all kinds of stuff like that. We're just commodities. And then when you end up getting arrested, whether it's by the state or the feds, then they take over your estate because that birth certificate is continuously making money. And not to mention the indictment is being traded, so that's making money.
Something, and that was another thing in Michigan. I think they said they had over 3,000 people in Michigan that they found out that voted dead. In Atlanta, Georgia, I think they said they had dead voters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a guy named T. West pulled up in his program and he showed how you could get into the birth certificate and find out that this person voted, and they showed they were registering dead voters, right? Okay, well, guys say you just donate to your GoFundMe, my sister, so that's great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, what I'm gonna say is, more people need to donate to Dr. Carmen Johnson or sign their petition like I did. I thank you for your donations, but I mean, hey, I don't.
And also email me, like if you know an organization that's interested in hearing my story and want to stand with me, because one of the things that I'm going to need when I go to the Supreme Court more than anything is briefs sent to the Supreme Court on why they need to look at my case. So if you know of some organizations that, because I've contacted like 28 or 30, and I don't know what's wrong with our people.
Well, well, more people should have signed it, and you should have been signed, had your case signed way before then. But I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Things get better, like this brother donating to your GoFundMe. So that's a start right there. So in all honesty, that's a start. So every little bit helps.
I appreciate that.
What is it? 1919. Dr. Carmen actually, donates to me sometime. I don't know why. I mean, Well, she
Because
does when they do it,
I
but
appreciate you. Because I appreciate you and I appreciate the message that you're trying to get out to people that's around your age to wake them up and keep them woke and keep them researching and keep them studying. I think that that's commended.
well, thank you. I mean, they say sometimes it's better to give than receive. I'm not. That's what you want to say, but I do thank you because as you donate to me or anybody else, whoever it could be, um, people will donate back to you. And yes, she does wear a crown, and she is a wonderful spirit, infinity. I must admit. Yeah, I think Judge Joe Brown gave her contact information about 6 weeks ago, and it has been like a magical experience. I just wanted to ask you, did you have any last words to give to the people of encouragement or whatever may be?
Well, I mean, because what happened to me, I take it so personal, and I'm so concerned about the people that are still behind the walls and still in jail and still in prisons and still in camps and still in cages. My vision is what I'm creating in my mind is to address with President Biden on those 7 out of 8, Crime Act bills that he helped sponsor, create, and wrote. So, I vision people that look like us coming together and addressing that. It's families out there that haven't seen their fathers or haven't seen their grandfathers that have been in jail for so many years because of these Crime Act bills. And my story is their story, even though I'm innocent, but there's a lot of me's that are in there that are innocent that took a plea because they are afraid. These bills need to be addressed, not a band-aid put on them called the Second Chance Act or the First Step Act, or, we need to go back and address those old bills that are still constantly putting our people in jail. I've sat in over 2,300 bond hearings since February 2020. And every single day, I'm steady watching our people that look like you and I that are steady being held without bond and are guilty before they're even proven innocent. Not to mention, because of COVID, they're sitting in jail, held without bond, and their court date is not until 2022. That's bullshit to me. So this is our problem. This is not my problem. This is our problem, and it's going to get worse. I don't see where it's going to get better.
Well, I will say this: I do seriously appreciate you and keep on the good fight. As I would say to the people, myself, words of encouragement, stand strong, don't fall for the nonsense, don't take the vaccine, but I'm pretty sure everybody my check knows that. Hank Aaron took the vaccine and he's dead 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, whatever we want to call it. Stop falling for trinkets. Um, when they tell you that you helped get Biden over, say, no, you ain't had a few idiot black people, but I know the real numbers, and I know that you had a lot of illegals help you, and you did a lot of things to rig the system. Don't blame me because I don't want to be a scapegoat for when this stuff hits the fan. Because when it hits the fan, I'm in the house. I'm letting these white folks fight it out.
It's not our business, and their business is not our business. That's number one. And number two, we need to get back to meditating and cleaning and clearing our third eye, because like you said, this is an illusion that we're seeing, and a lot of us are under some type of weird spell or something. And we really need to get back to our heritage, whether it's Native American or whether it's African. We need to go back to that. We need to dig into our DNA and our RNA. We need to ask our ancestors for guidance. We need to focus on that, because you cannot believe your eyes at this point. You can't trust your eyes. We can't trust what we're seeing or hearing. So we have to rely on the spiritual aspect.
Well, it's an old saying, Dr. Carmen. You know what that say is? Don't believe your lying eyes.
I appreciate you having me on the show, and I'm sure we'll be talking later this evening.
All right, you take your time. Everybody donate to Dr. Carmen. You take your time. Have a good show.